What's up, everybody? It's your boy Josh with JTM Racing. What's going on? So today we're going to be working on the Civic. We're going to be actually wrapping all the intercooler piping in a heat-resistant tape. It's gold. It's actually pretty sick looking, and pretty much it just keeps the heat out of the piping. I did purchase this tape a while back, just haven't done anything with it. I got in like 1-inch rolls. I think I got 10 rolls for under 20 bucks off eBay. Pretty legit. And we're going to be wrapping all the piping just to keep the hot air out as much as possible. We're going to have to pull off all the intercooler piping. We have to be very careful, and the reason why is all these hose clamps are off eBay. They're a little bit cheaper quality, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I don't got to buy new ones after I take them off. But I already soaked them in WD-40 where all the bolts are, so they can kind of sit there and break free. But yeah, let's do it. Here she is, guys. So pretty much I soaked all the hose clamps. You got these ones on the intercooler, got the one coming off of the intake manifold, you got one here, and then you got the ones running off of the turbo side. So those are all soaked, kind of broke loose. The reason why I want to be really careful with them is they are eBay quality. I can't believe I'm really saying that. They're just a cheaper brand off eBay. I've had issues with them before, taking them off, putting them back on to where they don't want to work and they want to seize. So I'm hoping these come off nice and clean and I can reuse them and I don't have to buy new ones. That's the idea, but we'll find out. The other things we're going to have to disconnect is the vacuum line running to the blowout valve, and then my vacuum line running off of my boost controller to the 90 right below the turbo here. And yeah, should be pretty sick. I've been wanting to do this for a while. The piping's pretty faded up front just because it's been sitting in the sun and it doesn't have the front bumper on. So pretty much what we're going to do, we're going to get all the piping off, wipe it down real well, get any type of oils or any type of residue off of them. And then we're going to wrap them all. I'm not going to be pulling the boots off, and on the piping where the boots are off, I'm only going to run the tape right to the end of where it meets at the boot. I don't want to run it under the boot because I don't want the tape to get too hot and then the glue to get a little sticky, and it causes the piping to actually slip out. So we'll be running the tape all the way to the boots, and that's it. Just covering all the piping, all the exposed piping, nothing under the boot itself. So like I said, should be pretty sick. We're going to be getting a lot done to the Civic. It's been a couple weeks since I posted my last video. Not too bad for me because usually I'm pretty lazy, but that's not going to happen no more. I do have a bunch of stuff that came in for the Civic, and I'm still waiting on another package. We'll make another video on all that. But yeah, this is another step closer to getting her done. We're going to be getting her tuned really soon. I already got the wideband in. Got a test pipe. I got the fuel sending unit, and I have some badass wide body front fenders coming in. I spent some dough within the last couple days, so let's get this piping done though. All right, so I got all the intercooler piping out. Wasn't too bad at all. The WD-40 definitely did help soaking the hose clamps. It even got all over the boots, so it helped the piping slip out of the boots a lot easier. I will be more careful installing it once it's all wrapped with tape, just so I don't damage or scratch the tape at all. I want it to look perfect. So the only issue we had was the vacuum line running off of the boost controller, which this might go away one day. I'm Not too sure. It depends on what route I go. But I had to rip the vacuum line off of this bar fitting here. It's all good. I have plenty of vacuum line inside the garage. We'll just replace this whole vacuum line running all the way down. And yeah, it's gonna be dope. All right, so this is the heat resistant tape. 10 rolls for under 20 bucks. I got the 1 inch just so it's better to maneuver around the pipe. They do sell it in like 2 and 3 inch for more coverage, but since there's so many bends, I wanted something that was a little bit more flexible. But that's the tape we'll be using. I'm gonna clean up all the piping with a microfiber and maybe some all-purpose cleaner or some type of degreaser, and then we'll start wrapping them. Alright, we got all the piping wiped down. You don't have to go too crazy. You just want to make sure there's no residue, no dirt on it, so the tape sticks real well to it. And like I said, we're going to be keeping all these couplers on. The reason why is because I don't want the tape going under them, and I don't want the pipe to be able to slip out if the tape gets like tacky or sticky when it's hot out. So we're just going to meet the tape right up against the couplers, and you actually see a fade line from where the couplers are on the other pipe. We'll be going to that fade line exactly. So let's wrap these things. All right guys, so this is what it looks like all wrapped up with the heat barrier tape. We're gonna still finish off this area around the blowout valve, so we'll run little strips here, and then we'll finish them up with a couple wraps right on the end. I'm sorry I didn't get video footage of this. I thought I was recording the whole time and I wasn't. But it is what it is. We'll do a time lapse on another piece, which the other pieces are probably going to be worse because they have more bends. These bends are a pain in the ass, and I would recommend you having 2 people.
Yo, come closer, like kind of right there you go.
Because me and Joe had to do this together while Joe sat Indian style. So
It came out good though.
yeah, it looks cool. And it's definitely heat barrier tape. You can tell by the thickness. It has like on the opposite side of it, it's almost like, I don't know, what would you say, Joe? It's like a textured,
Yeah,
reflective
almost. Yeah.
kind of look to it. So it definitely does keep the heat out of the piping. But yeah, so we'll finish this section up, which I'll do a little time lapse on that, I guess. And that's what we'll do. Sick. All right, so that's the final wrap job on that piece of piping right there. We ran smaller pieces here to cover all around the weld of the blowout valve, and then we wrapped one more beam on each side just to make it look cleaner. So most likely you can use a heat gun, or the heat from the engine bay is going to tighten up all this tape. It should, and it should look even better. So it should shrink it a little bit, but we're going to get this piece installed in the car and we'll go from there. Since we're here doing a video, we're going to do a little bit of an update on the good old drift stang. So got the fender replaced on this side. Joe did a junkyard run. If you remember, the old fender had a big ol' dent back here from it being in a wreck. He polished the headlights, took the front grille out. He modified to fix the header panel.
Yeah.
So if you see on this side, he got a new header panel from the junkyard, and this side was broke. So what he did,
I cut the piece off my old one, and then JB welded it and bolted it to it.
nice and snug.
It's actually almost better than this.
It's probably stronger than the factory mounting spot, yeah.
Yeah.
So front end's looking a lot better. I'll let you kind of.
And then I got the third brake light.
Third brake light.
Got that from, was that American Muscle? It's the Axion LED. It's like $50.
I think it's super clean.
Yeah, it's the nicest thing on the car.
Because the other one, I don't know if you guys remember, it was like a little warp.
Super faded.
Super faded. But this makes a night and day difference on the rear end of the car.
Yeah.
But yeah, more to come. He has the stockies back on here right now, which he's going to be getting rid of. Those dipped wheels. He's actually thinking about doing these black. They actually look pretty good on here. A little bit of a wider tire.
Yeah, and the tires aren't as tall, so I can go get lowering springs and it won't rub.
Yep. He's planning on lowering it here pretty soon, hopefully.
And then ball joint.
Ball joints.
Which will turn into lower control arms.
Yep. Me and him were talking about that. Since this is going to be a drift car, he's thinking why not put some angle on it while he's at it. This door used to have an issue opening because of the fender in the door. Opens nice and freely now. It's getting there.
Yeah. Slowly but surely.
Yep. It's going to be a badass car when it's done.
I'm thinking about keeping it V6.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
Might see this thing boost it.
Why not, right?
But there's definitely some super good ideas and plans for this car. If Joe builds it how he wants to, and there's another car that he kind of has a basic idea of how he wants it to look like. Car's titties.
Inspiration, we'll call it.
Yeah, it's sick as shit. So you're gonna see this thing transform little bit by little, but yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, till next time. Hopefully we get some footage on this thing soon. All right, so here's that intake piece inside the car. I didn't tighten down the clamp at all, just because we have to get all the other pieces done. And once I get everything else mounted, then I'll tighten all the hose clamps all together at once, so I know the fitment's correct. But yeah, that's how it's gonna look. Pretty sick. But now I'm gonna have to clean the engine bay real well, because that just looks too fresh. And then hopefully, like I said, off of the engine heat, a lot of these crinkles will go away when they get hot and the tape tightens up, and it shrinks a little bit, and it'll look a lot better. But it's very hard to wrap this piping, mostly at the 90-degree angles and all the curves, without making it crinkle. So But yeah, so till next time, it's all going to be in this video. So within a couple seconds here, you'll see us do the rest of the piping. All right, guys, so I got another piece of the intercooler piping wrap. Looking legit, super clean, super glossy. Definitely digging the gold wrap. Like I said in the other clips, a lot of these wrinkles should go away and shrink once heat is applied to the piping. So either with a heat gun or the engine bay heat itself. That's what I'm relying on. But this piece of pipe did turn out really good. I did this one by myself. I didn't have a second person helping me. Joe helped me on the other piece of piping just because that seemed like the easiest method at the time. I want to get it knocked out, so I decided to take it on myself. I used a different method. So what I did is I pretty much wrapped the whole piping one time, and then I wrapped it twice coming back, hitting any area that I missed the first time. So a lot of the piping is wrapped twice, which that's good because it's a heat resistant tape. So the more that's on there, the more heat it keeps out of the piping. So you benefit from it. But it came out super good. Definitely happy with it. And all we have left is really one more piece, which is this piece over here. Should be easier, should be quicker. It's a smaller diameter. But I say that now, and it could be a pain in the ass because these 90s look like they're even tighter. And it's a smaller diameter. So we might get more wrinkles in this one. We'll see what happens. I will get footage on wrapping this piping, and we'll do a time lapse on that so you can get an idea of how I wrapped it. Let's do it. All right, so I finally got this piece of piping done. Pain in the ass, took a while. That time lapse is actually gonna be pretty long. It took me about an hour of real time. So you gotta have patience, very tedious. And if you have OCD like me and you're trying to make it perfect, it's gonna take really long. And there is no way you can get this job done perfectly. If you can, tell me how. But close enough, came out decent. The only piece that I'm not too happy about is this 90 right here with this fitting. It was a pain in the ass to do. It would have been easy if I unbolted this hose clamp and pulled it out and did it by itself. Or easier, I would say. I had to do a bunch of little pieces to go around this fitting so it looks somewhat decently clean. But I wrapped it a lot. There's a lot of cut ends on the tape. Cut ends, open ends, whatever you want to say. And it just looks extra crinkly. But it is what it is. Maybe I'll redo it one day in the future. I'm not going to worry too much about it. You won't see it. This will be bolting up right underneath the turbo. And nobody else will see it. I'm just going to know it's there and it's going to bug me. So the rest of the piping came out real clean. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it'd be a lot easier to wrap all the piping if you didn't have any of the couplings, any of the hose clamps. The only reason why I'm not taking off the hose clamps or the couplings that I don't need to is because the hose clamps are cheaper quality, and I've had issues where you unbolt them and I go to bolt them back up and they won't tighten no more. And I don't want to run into that if I don't have to, because then I'm gonna have to buy new hose clamps. So this piece definitely could have came out better. It is what it is. You're not gonna get it perfect, and like I said, if you can, tell me how. It should look a lot better once it's under some heat and the wrinkles shrink and the tape tightens up. It should all look better once it's all bolted up, that engine gets hot and that engine bay gets hot and just everything tightens up. I think after a good drive with the piping done, it'll even look better. Let's hope so. But yeah, So all the pieces are done. All that's left is to bolt them up and get them on the Civic, and it should be pretty dope. So let's do it. Alright, so all the piping is installed again. Went pretty smooth. Had no issues with my hose clamps. And then I had to reattach that vacuum line coming from the boost controller. I had it long enough to begin with, so I just snipped the end off since I broke it off the last time, so it's a clean cut. And I hooked it back up to that 90 down there. But yeah, all the piping's installed. Looks pretty legit. I'm gonna fire her up and let this piping get hotter, even though it's baking in the sun right now. I wanna see if the tape shrinks a little bit. All right, so she's fully warmed up now. I've had her running for quite a while now. I think it's gonna take quite a bit of time for the tape to shrink. If you want to speed up the process, you can use a heat gun. Me personally, I'm gonna let it just do its thing. I think you'll get the best results that way. Don't be impatient. I think if it shrinks off of the engine bay heat, I think it'll shrink evenly and properly. But other than that, she's looking good. Everything's all bolted up, tightened. This pipe is actually pretty warm, and the tape did shrink quite a bit. Looks pretty clean. And it's just gonna get better. So like I said, it's not gonna be perfect. If you can get it perfect, let me know how. I'm sure there's ways of doing it, but I think this is pretty good for this being the first time I've ever done it. I'm really happy with the results, and I think it looks pretty dope. So that's it for this video. A lot more to come. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please leave comments, likes, hook it up. If you guys want to see anything in the future, let me know. We have a lot that's going to be happening to the Civic. I got a lot of parts, more coming in. We're going to get her done. Yeah, that's it, guys. Peace out till next time.